Hi, welcome back to the Breadcrumbs Project. This is going to be a quick video, no graphics, just record and upload. We have some really incredible things happening and the language change is notable. So I'm starting this episode of the Breadcrumbs Project off with the three biggest points that we have, our three interstellar visitors. And these are acknowledged interstellar visitors by NASA. NASA is not the enemy, okay? NASA is doing its job. That they have to tell us things that are not exactly true, well, they're doing that as any parent would to protect their children. If the government's not being truthful with us, with what's happening in space, it is a parental body protecting their responsibility, their children. Listen, every parent is not 100% honest with their children. Yes, there's people screaming at the monitor, I'm honest with my children and I've never lied to them and I've never... Santa Claus, all right? 99% of you out there did Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, and it's just because you know a world that your child is not ready for. I mean, just by the commenters alone in this channel, you can see that most of the people are not ready for what's happening in space and what's going on. I'm not ready for it. I'm just doing an investigation. And some of my clues and some of the breadcrumbs that I follow lead me to a good conclusion, a good loaf of bread, a good factual truth, and some lead me off in other directions. And they are not good trails to follow. They're not good, they are good clues, but my conclusions are incorrect. So I have to take a couple of steps back, get back on the breadcrumb trail, and follow back to the truth. No investigator is going to be perfect on everything that they do. If you watch cop shows like 24 Hours on the E-Channel Entertainment Network, you see that there are some conclusions that pan out, some ideas that pan out, and others just are dead ends. And that will happen to me. That's happened to me all my life. Many of the conclusions that I make are good conclusions. They pan out. Some that I make are incorrect. But I do have three clues, three factual events that have happened in space, and then one more on the ground that indicates that everything's about to change. What are all those clues? Breadcrumbs? Clue number one. I wish I had graphics for this, but clue number one is our first interstellar visitor, Oumouamou. As you know, I've talked about this a good bit, and you do your research, you're going to find out that this object did not behave as predicted and did not take the trajectory estimated and did not go at the speed that it was assumed it would. Before this day, before this event, all comets, all asteroids, all spatial bodies that we knew of and were following behaved in predictable ways because they are controlled by gravity. So, I keep talking about Shoemaker-Levy 9. That comet, that asteroid, that space object behaved in every predictable way except one, because we thought, we as a world community watching this event happen, and as we were talking about it, we always thought when an asteroid hits a planetary body, it does so as one big object, it's one big chunk of rock. And so when we were watching this and when the images were coming back and the scientists were seeing what was happening, they were surprised because this was new, but everything else was predictable that this comet was going to do. It was going to impact Jupiter. Why? Because the gravitational pull of Jupiter and the math said so. It was a predictable event, except for the one thing that we've never seen before. We had never ever seen a comet hit a planet. This was new to us. So that it did so in a string as it fell apart because of the gravitational pull would do so on each heavy object to begin with, whichever had the most pull, and it just did so partially throughout the object, which was obviously not a solid chunk of rock, but as we see now in the asteroids that we've landed on, these are clumps of rock and dirt that are held together by weak gravitational forces. So the obvious strong gravitational pull of that giant massive planet Jupiter, well, it just pulled that mass of rock and dirt apart one little bit at a time, and you had a beautiful string occur. So everything for comets and asteroids was predictable except for the things that we didn't see. So when Oumuamua left our solar system, again, not by the planetary plane, but in an elliptical to our planetary plane, went on an unexpected trajectory, went at an unexpected speed, and was unexpected in composition. Everything about Oumuamua, our first interstellar visitor, was just different, unpredictable. So it was not being pulled by gravity, obviously. It had its own, listen to this, it wasn't being pulled by gravity. It had its own navigation intentions, and its own navigation system, and its own navigation trajectory. It went on a speed that was absolutely incredible. And as it was leaving our solar system, it accelerated. So Oumuamua had its own propulsion system. Oumuamua had intelligence behind it. Then comes our second interstellar visitor, Borisov. Its trajectory, its speed was unexpected and unpredictable, and its chemical composition was also brand new to the astronomy community. The astronomy community, before this, the space community, said that these things were predictable. We had the second thing that was now exhibiting bizarre and unique properties. And so suddenly the language of comets and space objects changed. Things suddenly became unpredictable. So if you start looking at comets and the language that the space community started using, especially the official space community, well, comets are unpredictable. Since grade school, and I'm 54, since grade school, all of these objects and things were predictable, and we did our calculations and science classes, and this is where it's going to be, and this is where it's going to be, and this is where, and there it is. It's like tracking a hurricane. You can track a hurricane, and then after a while you can see the predictable path. There's nothing unpredictable about these objects unless they have their own propulsion system and their own intelligence behind them, that they are not inert celestial bodies. Then we had our third, and I'm calling it our third interstellar visitor, and I think that is Comet Atlas. And I'm taking a leap here, but certainly Comet Atlas was coming in faster than expected. It was going to be super bright. That wasn't normal. Its calculations and its expectations, we've done a couple of videos, and Data 1B4, he did an excellent video talking about what the heck is this luminosity that's coming in with this comet, and look how it's changing. And then suddenly, day before yesterday, the 28th, the luminosity goes from projected 8, and it was a 9, to a 13. That's unexpected. And they told us it broke up. Well, we have video from an independent researcher that shows like it was hit by an object, this Comet Atlas. And Igor, the researcher in Croatia, has been doing great work, and he has documented April 5th where something impacts and interferes with Comet Atlas. And all we've gotten from our space community, from NASA, JPL, and everybody, was one fuzzy picture and then some I mean, to tell you, some obscure astronomers from some good universities telling us that they think it was going to break up, without any reason for telling us why they thought it was going to break up. You just don't say something like that as an astronomer. You have to have a reason. We know that. This is science. It's not football. It's not a sport. This is science. If something is going to be pulled apart in space, there is a reason. And this is a massive object that is being pulled by the sun, and it was still 1 astronomical unit away. So it was from the distance from the Earth to the sun is what the current distance of Atlas was in its trajectory towards the sun. So it wasn't close enough to have that kind of a pull that would pull apart. And then we get 2 pictures, day before yesterday on the 28th, from Hubble, the most important telescope on the planet has been watching this object come into our solar system, and we got a very late alert then. If Hubble was on it, because Hubble's got a long list of jobs to do. Hubble's not sitting there waiting like, oh, look at this. No, I mean, there are universities, there are government institutions, there are secret institutions that have time booked on Hubble. So for Hubble to suddenly turn from wherever it was looking and start watching Comet Atlas means that a big heavy order came from up high and said, hey guys, you put Hubble on this now. And we got 3 grainy pictures. So you know there's a difference from what we've gotten and what they've told us, from what they saw and what's happened. And the biggest clue as to something happened to Atlas, which was not normal, is because the 2 pictures that we got yesterday are showing a debris field adrift in space. Something that was impacted, separated, and moving as debris field. It wasn't pulled by some gravitational object to create that debris field. It's not a line. Gravity didn't pull that. There was some kind of impact and explosion. That may be strange, but that's what we're seeing. Anybody that has seen anything break apart midair, Paul, if you're watching this video and you were in the service, you've seen midair breakups. I was in air defense artillery when I was in the Army, so that's what we did, was shoot things out of the sky and watch videos of things being blown up out of the sky. And that's what I see in my analysis of what happened to Comet Atlas. Was it was impacted by something, there was an explosion, and it's a debris field going in a direction. So there's an expansion and a direction. And what does all this add up to? Well, guys, a couple of days ago, the Pentagon admitted there are UFOs. 2020 is an insane year because that doesn't even move your needle, man. I guess this whole thing of the COVID is working. And I think this whole thing of President Trump putting on these great shows that has everybody riled up and all the air sucked out of the room of the news cycle, which is 100% Trump with his COVID and the things that he says, oh my God. And the Pentagon just admitted we have UFOs. There's technology on this earth that is far and superior to the technology that the United States of America has. That's far and superior to any government on this planet has. So where does technology come out of that the Pentagon is acknowledging? Folks, they're here. They're out there. There's something happening in space right now that involves us. The UFOs have been here forever, that we know of. Everything is about to change. There may very well be a great battle going on in space right now that we are not aware of. That's kind of what it seems like to me, but something's going on out there and everything's about to change. If the Pentagon now admits that there are UFOs, that there's technology on this planet that is far and superior and above what we have, that means that they're about to let us know something. This is the slow drip drip, the boiling frog theory, that they're just putting this little bit of information out there, turning up the heat until they can just let us know everything. You doubters prove me wrong about these UFOs. If you can tell me that the Pentagon is a bunch of morons for acknowledging UFOs, then give me your proof, because that's the strongest thing I have right now, and this ties it all together. The 3 interstellar objects that we've had, and the one big thing here on our own planet. All right? So, yes, there is a Nibiru. I hope that Nibiru is a wonderful place, as we've been told by the Sumerians and by so many other traditions, and all of the great religions talk to us about an end times. All of them have an eschatology, and they tell us there's going to be difficulty. These prophecies are not just random prophecies. Obviously, if there are UFOs, then they have been here all the time that we have been here, and they've been guiding humanity along. I mean, boom! And everybody that laughed at ancient aliens might have to eat a little bit of crow. And I still say Graham Hancock has a lot of apologizing to do to Sitchin. Not a lot of us understand what I just said, but Hancock owes an apology to Sitchin, because Sitchin was right. All right, guys. With this, please know that great change is coming. Please share this video with as many people as you can, because if the Pentagon has acknowledged UFOs, then the Pentagon says, guys, get ready. There's something out there that's bigger for us, bigger than us, and just get ready. Pentagon doesn't volunteer these kind of informations very, very easily. And they've been sitting on UFOs since there's been a Pentagon. They've known it for a while. So Area 51's got to be legit. Project Blue Book, Paperclip, all of it. The billions of dollars that has been spent by the Pentagon in UFO research has been done because they knew it. And now they've acknowledged it. This changes everything. All right, peace. Get ready for 3 to 4 weeks of some interesting times, and I'll stay in touch.